So many of us have been taught to give and give and give until there's nothing left inside. We were told that putting ourselves first makes us selfish, but in reality, it makes us wise. Because how can you pour into others when your own cup is empty? How can you guide anyone when you yourself are lost? Today is not about ignoring people. It's about waking up to the truth that your destiny, your health, your peace, and your focus must come first. If you don't protect your life, who will? The power of saying now is one of the greatest gifts you will ever give to your own destiny. For too long, people have been programmed to believe that saying yes to everything is a sign of kindness, of humility, of love. But let me ask you a question today. What happens when your constant yes to others becomes a constant no to yourself? What happens when you sacrifice your time, your energy, your calling, all for the sake of pleasing people who don't even understand the weight of your purpose? Saying no does not make you arrogant. It does not make you selfish. It makes you a steward of the life God has entrusted to you. Because every time you say yes to something outside your purpose, you are saying no to the assignment you were born to fulfill. Think about that for a moment. Every hour you spend running after approval, every moment you waste trying to please those who will never be satisfied, is a moment stolen from the destiny waiting for you. You see, boundaries are not walls, they are gates of protection. A wall locks everything out, but a gate knows what to let in and what to keep out. When you don't know how to say no, you give the keys of your life to anyone who asks for them. And when everyone has access to your time, your strength, your mind, guess what happens? You end up drained, exhausted, frustrated, and worst of all, unfulfilled. But when you learn the discipline of saying no, you are not rejecting people. You are protecting your future. Look at it this way: you were designed for a specific purpose, a unique assignment, a divine blueprint that no one else can fulfill. But if you spend your life saying yes to every demand, every distraction, every unnecessary commitment, you will never have the focus to build what you were meant to build. And the world will suffer the loss of the gift you never delivered. Isn't that tragic? That destiny could be buried, not because of failure, but because of distraction. Let me tell you something powerful. Saying no is not closing the door on love. It's opening the door to destiny. It's not rejecting others, it's accepting yourself. And when you learn how to prioritize your life, when you guard your energy, when you protect your purpose, you will find that even your yes will carry more weight, more value, more power, because it comes from a place of strength, not depletion. So the next time you feel guilty about saying no, remember this: every no to distractions is a yes to destiny. Every no to unnecessary demands is a yes to your purpose. And every no to the noise around you is a yes to the voice within you. But here's the question you must ask yourself: if saying no protects your purpose, what happens when you finally decide to focus only on yourself? What happens when you stop giving away your attention and begin to invest it in your own growth? That, my friend, is where the next level of this journey begins. Why focusing on yourself is the first step to destiny. Because until you discover who you are, you will never know what you were born to do. Too many people spend their entire lives chasing approval, chasing applause, chasing opportunities that were never meant for them, only to realize that they ignored the very person they were supposed to develop themselves. You cannot fulfill a purpose you have not yet discovered, and you cannot discover it if you are too distracted by everyone else's demands. Focusing on yourself is not selfish, it is strategic. It is a decision to pause, to reflect, to ask the deepest questions of your life. Who am I? Why am I here? What have I been created to do? You see, purpose is not found in the noise of the crowd. It is found in the stillness of self-awareness. Until you take time to look inward, to build your mind, to strengthen your spirit, to align with your calling, you will always live below your potential. Consider this: a seed cannot grow until it is placed in the right environment. It must be planted, watered, nurtured, protected. The same is true for your life. If you are constantly pouring into others while neglecting yourself, you will never grow into the fullness of who you were meant to be. But when you focus on yourself, when you invest in your growth, when you choose to develop your gift, suddenly the world begins to experience the fruit of your true potential. Think about it. The world does not need a copy of someone else. It needs the authentic version of you. And authenticity requires focus. It requires saying, I will not waste my life living by someone else's script. I will not bury my uniqueness under the expectations of others. I will focus on becoming the best version of myself. That's not pride, that's stewardship, that's wisdom. Because the greatest gift you can give to others is the fulfillment of your own purpose. When you focus on yourself, clarity comes. Your priorities shift. You begin to see what matters and what does not. You stop chasing relationships that drain you. You stop pursuing opportunities that don't align with your assignment. You begin to understand that destiny requires discipline, and discipline requires focus. And until you discipline yourself to prioritize your own growth, you will always remain at the mercy of distractions. So let me ask you this: if you never take the time to focus on yourself, how will you ever know what you're capable of? How will you ever know the depth of your potential, the strength of your gift, the power of your assignment? And if you never know that, how will you ever impact the world the way you were designed to? But here's the real challenge. Once you focus on yourself and begin to grow, how do you protect that growth? How do you guard your energy so that you are not drained again? That, my friend, leads us to the next vital key. Boundaries are not selfish. They are sacred. They are the invisible lines that protect your purpose, your peace, and your future. Without boundaries, your life becomes an open field where anyone can walk in, take what they want, and leave you empty. But when you establish boundaries, you are not pushing people away. You are simply protecting what matters most. Boundaries are not about rejection. They are about direction. They are about guiding your energy toward your assignment instead of scattering it everywhere else. Think about it. Even the ocean has boundaries. Even the sky has limits. Even the seasons know when to begin and when to end. Why? Because without boundaries, chaos takes over. The same is true for your life. When you do not set clear boundaries, you invite confusion, frustration, and burnout. But when you decide what you will allow and what you will not allow, suddenly your life gains structure, clarity, and strength. Now here's the truth. Many people struggle to accept boundaries are not meant to keep others comfortable. They are meant to keep you faithful to your calling. Because if you spend your life saying yes to everything, you will eventually say no to the very thing you were born to do. Boundaries give you the power to focus, to protect your time, to guard your heart, and to invest your energy only in the things that align with your destiny. Have you noticed? The people who complain the loudest about your boundaries are often the very ones who benefited the most from your lack of them. They are upset not because you did something wrong, but because you stopped letting them drain you. And this is why boundaries are sacred, because they shift you from being controlled by others to being guided by purpose. And that shift will cost you relationships. It will cost you approval. It will cost you comfort, but it will save your destiny. Don't confuse love with availability. You can love people and still set limits. You can care for people and still say, not now. You can honor people and still guard your own peace. Because love without boundaries turns into slavery. But love with boundaries produces freedom, and freedom is necessary for purpose to flourish. So the question is, what lines do you need to draw today? What areas of your life need a sacred boundary to protect your focus, your faith, your future? Until you decide, others will continue to decide for you. And every time they decide for you, you lose another piece of yourself. But here's the next question you must face. Once you set boundaries, how do you stop people and situations from constantly draining your energy? How do you move from merely protecting yourself to actually growing stronger? That's the key we must unlock next. Stop draining, start growing, because life was never designed for you to live constantly empty. Too many people are running on fumes, giving and giving, pouring and pouring, while silently shrinking on the inside. They smile in public, but they are weary in private. They look strong on the outside, but within they are tired, exhausted, and losing themselves. The truth is, you cannot grow if you are always drained. You cannot rise if you are always running on empty. You cannot fulfill destiny if your tank is always dry. Draining happens when you give your time, your energy, and your heart to things that do not replenish you. It happens when you invest in people who never invest back. It happens when you keep saying yes to places that never feed your purpose. And little by little, the more you drain, the less you grow. But hear this carefully. Growth requires fuel. Growth requires strength. Growth requires you to stop allowing what weakens you and to start pursuing what strengthens you. Now listen, growth does not happen by accident. Growth is intentional. Just as a plant needs water, light, and the right soil, your life needs nourishment. That means feeding your mind with wisdom, feeding your spirit with truth, feeding your vision with focus. When you stop draining and start growing, you shift from survival to expansion. You stop just existing and you start advancing. And here's the secret. Sometimes the things that drain you are not even bad things. They are just not the right things. They might look good, they might feel good, but if they do not align with your assignment, they will still drain you. That's why discernment is so important, because growth requires pruning. Growth requires cutting away the branches that no longer bear fruit. Growth requires you to release the things, the people, and even the habits that keep draining your strength. So the question is, what are you feeding yourself with? Are you constantly surrounded by negativity, gossip, distractions, people who never push you higher? Or are you in environments that challenge you, inspire you, stretch you, and help you grow? Because wherever your focus goes, your energy flows, and wherever your energy flows, your life grows. Remember, you were not created just to give life away. You were created to live abundantly. But abundance cannot flow from an empty vessel. So stop allowing yourself to be drained and start building yourself in wisdom, in discipline, in purpose. Because the more you grow, the more you have to give, and the more valuable your life becomes. But here's where it gets even deeper. If you cannot heal yourself, how can you ever truly help heal others? If you are still broken inside, how can you restore those around you? That, my friend, is the next truth we must uncover. You can't heal others while you're still broken. Too many people are trying to fix everybody else while silently bleeding inside themselves. They are counseling others, but crying alone. They are strengthening others, but weak in their own soul. They are building others while their own foundation is crumbling. And here is the truth. A broken vessel cannot pour clean water. If you don't deal with your own wounds, your attempts to help others will only pass on your pain instead of your healing. Healing begins with honesty. It begins with the courage to say, I am not okay. It begins with admitting that the scars you carry are still bleeding, the disappointments you experienced are still shaping you, and the fears you hide are still directing your choices. Until you face yourself, you cannot free yourself. And until you free yourself, you cannot truly free anybody else. Because what you have not conquered within will always control you without. So many people wear masks of strength, pretending they are fine, when in reality they are tired of pretending. They want to help, they want to give, they want to serve, but deep inside they are empty. And here's what happens. Unhealed pain always leaks out. It leaks out in your relationships. It leaks out in your words. It leaks out in your decisions. You can't cover it forever. Eventually, what is broken in you begins to break everything around you. That's why healing is not optional. It's necessary. You must confront your pain, forgive where you need to forgive, release what you need to release, and allow yourself to recover. Healing does not mean the past didn't happen. It means the past no longer controls you. Healing does not mean you forget. It means you refuse to remain imprisoned by it. And only when you are whole, only when you are restored, can you truly bring restoration to others. Think about it. How can a doctor heal a patient if the doctor is infected? How can a teacher give knowledge if the teacher has never learned? How can a guide lead the way if the guide is lost? The same principle applies to your life. Before you pour into others, you must let yourself be poured into. Before you strengthen others, you must be strengthened. Before you carry others, you must be able to stand. So the question is, what broken places in your life need healing right now? What pain have you been ignoring, covering up, or pretending doesn't exist? Because if you don't deal with it, it will deal with you. But when you finally choose healing, when you finally allow yourself to be restored, that's when you will carry a power, a wisdom, and an authority that no pain can ever take away. But here is the next question you must ask. If healing yourself is this important, how do you then align that healing with your destiny? How do you take your restoration and turn it into unstoppable focus? That's where the next key begins. Focus is the currency of destiny. Without focus, potential is wasted, opportunities are missed, and purpose is delayed. You can be gifted, you can be talented, you can even be anointed, but if you lack focus, you will scatter your energy in 1,000 directions and end up with nothing to show for it. Focus is the ability to direct all of who you are into all of what you are called to do. And until you master focus, you will always live beneath your destiny. Think of it like this: light is everywhere, but when it is concentrated, it becomes a laser that can cut through steel. Water is everywhere, but when it is channeled, it becomes a powerful current that generates electricity. In the same way, your life has power, but only focus can channel that power into impact. The enemy of destiny is not always failure. Sometimes it is distraction, and distraction is the thief of focus. Many people don't fail because they are not capable. They fail because they are too busy doing everything except the one thing they were born to do. They chase approval here, opportunities there, relationships over here, and at the end of the day, they wonder why their life feels empty. But destiny demands focus. It demands that you stop scattering your energy and start narrowing your vision. It demands that you make decisions not based on comfort, but based on calling. Ask yourself, where is your focus? Do you wake up every day with clarity about what matters most? Or are you living reactive, allowing the noise of life to control you? Because whatever has your focus has your future. If you give your focus to distractions, your life will be filled with regret. If you give your focus to your purpose, your life will be filled with fulfillment. Focus requires discipline. It means saying no to good things so you can say yes to the right things. It means ignoring voices that want to pull you in 1,000 directions so you can listen to the one voice that points you to destiny. It means choosing vision over comfort, progress over procrastination, purpose over popularity. Focus is costly, but the cost of distraction is far greater. And here is the secret. Once you align your focus with your purpose, Doors begin to open. Clarity begins to come. What once looked confusing begins to make sense. Because life rewards focus. Destiny responds to focus. And the world makes room for the one who knows exactly where they are going. So let me ask you, what distractions are stealing your focus right now? What is keeping you from giving your whole self to the assignment you were created for? Because if you don't take control of your focus, something else will. But here is the next critical question. Once you learn to focus, how do you make sure your life is actually valuable and not just busy? How do you shift from chasing availability to becoming truly valuable? That's where we must go next. The gift of prioritizing your own life is one of the greatest shifts you will ever make. Too often, people spend years putting everything and everyone ahead of themselves. Careers, friendships, obligations, demands, until they are left with no time, no energy, and no direction for their own lives. But hear this clearly, you cannot truly give to others what you have not first secured for yourself. Your destiny will never be fulfilled by living at the bottom of your own priority list. Prioritizing your life means recognizing that your time is precious, your energy is limited, and your purpose is non-negotiable. It means you stop treating your dreams like leftovers, something you only focus on when everyone else has been served. It means you finally decide, my life matters, my assignment matters, my growth matters. And when you make that shift, everything else begins to align. Think about it, even an airline tells you to put on your own oxygen mask first before helping someone else. Why? Because if you cannot breathe, you cannot save anyone. The same principle applies to life. If you do not prioritize your health, your mind, your vision, your peace, you will collapse under the weight of trying to carry everyone else. But when you put your own life in order, when you honor your own priorities, suddenly you have strength, clarity, and wisdom to give to others. Now, prioritizing your life doesn't mean you ignore people. It means you put things in their proper place. It means you stop giving urgent attention to unimportant matters. It means you stop answering every call, attending every event, saying yes to every demand, while your own dreams sit on the shelf gathering dust. It means you live intentionally, not reactively. Because if you don't set your priorities, someone else will set them for you. The gift of prioritizing your life also brings peace. You no longer live scattered, running in circles, always exhausted, always rushing, but never arriving. You begin to live with order, with balance, with focus. And when people see that, they may not understand it. Some may even resist it, but deep inside, they will respect it. Because when you respect your own life, others learn to respect it too. So the question is, what are you putting first? Are you constantly giving the best of your time, your energy, your heart, to things that don't even matter in the long run? Or are you investing it in the assignment you were born to complete? Because until you choose your own life, you will never truly live it. But here's where it gets even deeper. Once you learn to prioritize your own life, how do you teach others to value you the same way? How do you move from simply setting priorities to commanding respect and recognition? That, my friend, is the next truth we must uncover. When you value yourself, others will too. People treat you according to the standard you set, not the standard you wish for. If you walk through life doubting your worth, begging for attention, and lowering your standards, don't be surprised when others mirror that back to you. But the moment you recognize your value, the moment you carry yourself with dignity, with confidence, with clarity, people will have no choice but to adjust the way they treat you. Because the world does not give you what you deserve. It gives you what you demand by the way you value yourself. Value is not something you wait for others to assign to you. Value is something you establish within yourself. You must decide that I am worth protecting, I am worth investing in, I am worth honoring. that decision shifts everything. It changes the way you speak, the way you walk, the way you think, the way you choose relationships, the way you make decisions. And when you shift, people are forced to shift with you. Think about this. Even a diamond covered in dirt does not lose its value, but if it doesn't know what it is, it can be mistaken for a stone. Many people are living like unrecognized diamonds, priceless in essence, but treated as common because they don't carry themselves like treasure. When you value yourself, you no longer allow people to mishandle you. You no longer tolerate environments that reduce you. You no longer settle for being treated like less than what you are, because you understand that you were created with purpose, with excellence, with divine worth. Valuing yourself is not arrogance, it's awareness. It's knowing that you are not here by accident. It's knowing that your life is not cheap. It's knowing that every day you wake up, you carry something that cannot be replaced. And when you truly know that, you begin to attract respect. You begin to command honor. You begin to inspire others to rise to the level of how you treat yourself. Now listen carefully. When you devalue yourself, people will discount you. When you value yourself, people will seek you. That's why some people are overlooked, not because they lack greatness, but because they have not yet recognized it within themselves. Once you change the way you see yourself, you change the way the world sees you. So let me ask you, how are you treating yourself right now? Are you honoring your time, your body, your mind, your gift? Or are you allowing yourself to be handled carelessly, as if your life has no weight? Because until you value yourself, you will always struggle to find value in the eyes of others. But here's the challenge that follows. If valuing yourself attracts respect, what happens when you still find yourself chasing approval? What happens when you begin to depend on people's opinions to measure your worth? That is where the next lesson must be faced. The danger of living for approval is that it traps you in a prison you may never escape. When your life revolves around what people think, you stop living authentically and you start living artificially. You dress for them, you speak for them, you move for them, you choose for them, and little by little, you disappear. Approval is a drug. The more you take it, the more you need it, and the more it controls you. And here is the truth. If people can give you your worth, then people can also take it away. Living for approval keeps you unstable. One day they cheer for you, the next day they criticize you, and suddenly your emotions swing with their opinions. But destiny requires stability. Purpose requires conviction. Calling requires you to stand firm whether people clap for you or not. If you cannot stand without applause, you will never rise into the fullness of who you were created to be. Think about it. Even the greatest leaders, even the strongest voices were rejected by some while accepted by others. But they refused to let approval determine their assignment. They understood that pleasing people is temporary, but fulfilling purpose is eternal. If you make decisions to keep everyone happy, you will end up losing yourself, because no matter what you do, somebody will always disapprove. The question is, are you willing to disappoint people so you don't disappoint your destiny? Approval is dangerous because it makes you dependent, and dependency weakens you. If your confidence rises and falls based on likes, comments, or recognition, then your identity is still fragile. But when you know who you are, when you are secure in your purpose, you no longer beg for validation. You live from validation already within. You no longer chase approval, you carry assurance. And here's the power of it. Once you break free from approval, you begin to attract respect. People are drawn to authenticity. People admire conviction. People may not always agree with you, but they will recognize strength when they see it. And strength is never built on applause, it is built on identity. So let me ask you today, whose approval have you been living for? Whose opinions are controlling your choices? Because until you stop needing their approval, you will never step fully into your own authority. The moment you let go of the need to be liked is the moment you start to walk in freedom. But now comes the next critical step. If you are no longer bound by approval, if you are no longer living for people's opinions, then how do you commit yourself fully to the assignment that has been given to you? How do you protect and pursue that one thing above everything else? That's the key we must unlock next. Your assignment requires your full attention. Not part of it, not some of it, not what's left after you've given yourself away to everything else, but your full, undivided attention. Because purpose cannot be fulfilled with leftovers. Destiny cannot be completed with distractions. Your assignment demands focus, discipline, and commitment, because it is the very reason you were placed on this earth. And hear me carefully, nothing is more dangerous than a distracted life. Distraction is the enemy of destiny. Every single one of us was born with a divine assignment, a task only we can accomplish, a purpose only we can fulfill. But the tragedy is that many die never discovering it, or worse, discovering it but never committing to it. Why? Because their attention was divided. They allowed people to pull them in 1,000 directions. They allowed opportunities to compete with their purpose. They allowed comfort to steal their focus. But your assignment will not wait forever. If you neglect it, if you postpone it, if you abandon it, the world will lose the gift you were meant to deliver. Think about this. Even a soldier in battle cannot afford to be distracted because distraction costs lives. In the same way, when you abandon your assignment, lives are affected, destinies are delayed, generations are impacted. Your assignment is not just about you. It is about those connected to you, those waiting for the impact of your obedience. That is why it requires your full attention. And here's the truth. The world will always compete for your focus. People will ask for your time, opportunities will pull at your energy, and distractions will fight for your attention. But you must decide, my assignment comes first. It is not selfishness, it is stewardship. Because the greatest tragedy in life is not death. The greatest tragedy is living without fulfilling what you were born to do. So ask yourself right now, what is pulling your attention away from your assignment? What voices, what habits, what distractions are keeping you from committing fully to what matters most? Because until you give your full attention, you will always lie beneath your potential. But the moment you focus, the moment you prioritize, the moment you say, this is my assignment and I will not abandon it, everything begins to align. Now let me leave you with this. Your life is too valuable to waste on distractions. Your gift is too rare to be buried under business. Your time is too short to be lived without purpose. Your assignment is waiting, and it will not be fulfilled halfway. You must decide today to give it your full attention. And when you do, the world will see the fullness of what you were created to be. So rise up, guard your focus, protect your purpose, and walk boldly in your assignment. Because your destiny is too great, your future is too important, and your calling is too urgent to delay any longer. The time is now, the choice is yours, and the world is waiting for the gift that only you can give.